next component of our debate this evening, and that is our candidate question round. We've asked each candidate to prepare a question for one of their opponents. We'll give the candidate a minute to ask their question. Their opponent will get 90 seconds to respond. There'll be a minute for a follow-up or rebuttal, and then a minute for a second response. And the first candidate to ask our question this evening will be Democratic challenger Theresa Obermeyer.
Well, thank you again, Mr. Hammock. I want to ask Ted. I was thinking of asking him about his age of 72, the fact that he has had cancer and back problems, and the fact that I don't believe he will be able to serve 6 more years in the U.S. Senate. But then I decided, Ted, to simply ask you why you would, in front of my 8-year-old daughter, Margaret, announce to a room full of people, this was on October 28th, 1994, that I was stalking you. This was at the Alaska World Affairs Council.
Senator Stevens, you have up to 90 seconds for a response.
I'm glad you raised the health question because I was very lucky. My cancer was diagnosed very early. That's over 5 years ago. I'm very pleased to tell you that I haven't had any trace of that cancer since that time. I'm back playing tennis and running and enjoying a full life. But you raised a very interesting issue because I have made quite a point of trying to keep up with health issues. I've supported an increase in funding for breast cancer research and prostate cancer research. I've been particularly interested in the problems of the brain. I've been part of the group, the congressional group that's kept up with the research that's going on now with regard to Alzheimer's and all of the diseases of the brain to see if we can find a way to reduce the impact of those on our elderly and to make it possible for us to, if possible, to retard the development of that kind of sickness. But, you know, the health problems of Alaska are unique, and we have had fetal alcohol syndrome development. I was the one that brought that to us, the center that's right here in Anchorage. It does seem to me that what we have to do is to find some way to take the fear out of some of these diseases. When I was first told I had cancer, I was pretty worried about it, and I'm sort of pleased to be able to say I'm not worried about it anymore. I think you're wrong to try to tell people I can't live through this term.
Thank you, Ted Stevens. Theresa Obermeyer, you have a minute for a follow-up or rebuttal.
Well, I guess, Ted, you simply didn't hear the question because you didn't answer it. Why, sir, would you announce to a room full of people, approximately 175, including about 20 or 25 attorneys, in front of the thing that offended me the most, sir, was my 8-year-old daughter was sitting there eating her lunch at the Alaska World Affairs Council, and you announced to a room full of people I was stalking you, calling me by name and upsetting my daughter. Could you respond, sir, or do you have Alzheimer's?
Senator Stevens, you have a minute for a second response.
I think, Ms. Obermeyer, we've gone through this before. You appeared at almost every event that I was at for several years to ask me a stupid question about your husband's continuing to be able to fail the bar, to pass the bar. He was not able to pass the bar. You somehow blamed me on that, but you were stalking me. And your daughter was there. You asked me the question, by the way. I responded to the question. But, you know, the interesting thing is the problems we have in this country for people who can't communicate, and particularly some of those who can't seem to understand. They correlate their own personal problems with other people's past. You seem to have done that with me. It's unfortunate. I wish you'd go find some help. I think you need help, Mrs. Obermeyer.
All right, Ted.
Is there a response, Mr. Raymond?
We've used up that candidate question round. You will have an opportunity before the program is over to address the issue. Senator